Hello fellow book nerds. Today I am bringing you my October TBR. So September was quite a slumpy month for me. I think I just read too much in August, too many good books in August I should say, and then I left kind of some not very good books for September, which kind of sucks, but it happens. So yeah, I was kind of slumpy. And I changed my TBR quite a bit. I didn't read as many books as I wanted, so I have to read them this month because I need to have them reviewed for blog tours. So yeah, I'm kind of stressed. I have about 22 books that I'm planning, that I have on my TBR this month, and I hope to get to all of them. If not, it's okay. I just need to make sure that I read my arcs that I've got. So in October, I'm taking part in 3 readathons. The first one is the Owls Readathon, which was hosted and run by Book Roast. I'll link her down below. This was run in April, and I wasn't on Booktube. I wasn't in the book community in April, so I wanted to do it. So I've decided to do it. So I'm working towards becoming an auror. And I don't know when I'll do my newts. I might do it next month. I might do it the month after. I'm not really sure, but I'm just really wanted to do this readathon. The next readathon I'm taking part in is the Hocus Pocus readathon, which goes from the 1st to the 13th of October. And this is hosted by, it's run by Pages and Ink on Twitter and Tiffy. So I'll link them down below too, so you can follow them and get some more information if you want to join. So the last readathon I'm taking part in is the Nightmare Before TBR, and that is run by Medusa Reads. I'll be linking her channel down below and her announcement video and all of that, so you can get some more information if you also want to join. Now, this is going for the whole month of October, so I have a lot of time to do it. And with these 3 readathons, I've tried to interlink the books so they fit different prompts for each readathon, which is really going to help me. Sorry, I'm just grabbing my laptop so I can get good reads up. So I'm going to start with talking for the books that I want to read for the Hocus Pocus readathon, because that's the first one that I'll be trying to complete. And we have 7 challenges, which is really cool. So the first challenge is read a book with a witchy main character, and now I've been so excited to read this book. I got it when the first day it came out. I forced my boyfriend to take me to the warehouse, and I was like, I'm buying this book, I don't care. It's since I started Booktube, all I've heard about is this really book. I've seen people read the arcs, and I needed to get it, and that is Serpent and Dove. I know, I'm so excited. So if you haven't been on Booktube and you haven't seen what this is about, it's about a witch who's run away from her coven and a witch hunter, and they somehow end up in an arranged marriage. It's an enemies to lovers trope, which is awesome, and I just cannot wait to read this book. This also goes for the 6th challenge, so it's the group book for the Hocus Pocus Readathon 2, which is awesome. Isn't this cover gorgeous? Like, I love it. And it's floppy, and I'm so excited. It's quite a big book for a YA. I'm sorry, my cats are being crazy. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. And again, it's the group book, and it's also the book club book for the Royally Book Club run by Rachel Marie. I'll link all her stuff down below too, so you can check it out. And yeah, I'm just so excited to read this book. And the next book that I want to read is an e-arc that I received, and it's called In the Wake. So this is going to be, this is for the prompt, read a book with a female protagonist. So this book is a thriller. It's been said to be deliciously dark and beautifully written. So it's really, really exciting. So I'll read the blurb for you. So when a body is found floating in London's Royal Albert Dock, successful public relations expert Kay Christie is sent to quiet the media. But things get complicated when it emerges that she knew the victim. As events spiral out of control, Kay discovers that those close to her may be harbouring another secret. The story of a missing girl. Can Kay discover the truth before her life unravels and she risks losing everything? In the Wake questions whether we can ever truly leave our past behind and explores the lengths that we will go to protect the people that we love. So this sounds really, really interesting, and it's going to be a thriller. I love thrillers, and it's great for the kind of spooky October kind of feels, even though it's it's not autumn here. In New Zealand, it's getting into spring, so it's getting warmer, and I'm starting to wear less clothes. I still want to get in the spooky vibe kind of thing. So, yeah, leave me alone. And for the third prompt, it is read a book that is spellbindingly atmospheric. And for this book, I did a lot of searching and trying to find some atmospheric books because it's hard to choose a book that you don't know about for a prompt that's, you know. And I picked Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Now, this book is really hyped on Booktube and the book community, and it seems to be loved by a lot of people. And I'm not, to be fair, I'm not really sure what it's about. So I'm going to read the Goodreads blurb here. I have it as an ebook, so I don't own the physical copy. But I'm really, really excited to read this because it's really hyped, and it's got a 4.3 rating on Goodreads, which is pretty good. So, around the world, black handprints are appearing on doorways, scorched there by winged strangers who have crept through a slit in the sky. In a dark and dusty shop, a devil's supply of human teeth grows dangerously low. And in the tangled rains of Prague, a young art student is about to be caught up in a brutal, outworldly war. Meet Caro. She fills her sketchbooks with monsters that may or may not be real. She's prone to disappearing on mysterious errands. She speaks many languages. Not all of them are human, and her bright blue hair actually grows out of her head that colour. Who is she? That is the question that haunts her, and she's about to find out. When beautiful, haunted Akiva fixes fiery eyes on her in an alley in Marrakesh, the result is blood and starlight, secrets unveiled, and a star-crossed love with whose roots drink deep of a violent past. But will Caro live to regret learning the truth about herself? Oh wow, that sounds really, really interesting. So it's fantasy, YA, romance. Yeah, that's my thing. I knew I picked this book for a reason. So that sounds really, really interesting, and again, it's something that I'm really, really excited for, and I hope that I get to it this month. For the prompt, a book that frightens you, I've picked A Proclivity to Prurience. So this is a very different book, and it's very dark, and it's also an ebook that I'm going to be reviewing for a blog tour that I'm really, really excited about. So this is a very different book. So it's about obsession. It kind of reminds me of You. And yeah, so the blurb says, Joe's controversial approach to life is fueled by his fixation on Abby, and a beautiful wedding offers the perfect opportunity for him to seduce her. Everyone loves a wedding, don't they? The only hurdle is Eddie, Abby's son and Joe's best friend. But inebriated and forcing an end to the evening, he inadvertently assists Joe's quest, and a suitably indulgent night beckons. But what should have been a culmination of Joe's 11-year obsession descends into chaos and devastation, wrenching Joe from all he's known for the majority of his life. Accustomed to getting what he wants, it's not until he really gets what he wants that his world unravels and his control slips away. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful who you wish for obsession comes with a price. But is it worth paying? So it kind of, it's It's very mysterious. The blurb doesn't really give you a lot of information, except obsession is the huge key to here, and maybe he'll regret his obsession in the end. So it seems really interesting. It's got a 4.4 rating on Goodreads, so I'm really excited to read and review this one. And for the next book, it's a physical, so read a book with a powerful villain. And the book that I'm going to be reading for this one is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. To be fair, I don't really know anything about this. I just know that it's a really good thriller and it's recommended by a lot of people, so I picked it up. As you can see, I got it for $3 in the charity shop. So it's the back says here, the industrialist Henrik Vanger, head of the dynastic Vanger Corporation, is tormented by the loss of a child decades earlier and convinced that a member of his family has committed the murder. The journalist Michael Blomkvist delves deep into the Vanger's past to uncover the truth behind the unsolved mystery, but someone else wants the past to remain a secret and will go to any lengths to keep it that way. And The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Lisbeth Salander, the enigmatic delinquent and dangerous security specialist, assists in the investigation. A genius computer hacker, she tolerates no restrictions placed upon her by individual, society, or the law. So this sounds really interesting. It's going to be another thriller, mystery kind of story that I'm really excited to get into. And it's thick. She's thick. With over 500 pages, so we'll see how it goes. So that wraps up the Hocus Pocus readathon and what I plan to read for that readathon. So I'll start with my Owls readathon next. So I only have to complete 5 classes to become an aura to complete my newts. So for charms, we have to read an adult work, and I'm going to be reading a Proclivity to Prurience that I mentioned in my previous readathon. So that's going to be a really good one. And then for the class Defense Against the Dark Arts, I have to read a title starts with an R. And I'm going to be reading Raven Lane. Now this is another e-arc that I got provided by NetGalley, and I'm just trying to slowly make my way through NetGalley. And I have a lot of books on my NetGalley TBR, which is kind of a disaster because I just kept requesting books and I got accepted for nearly all of them, and now I'm stuck with this huge list of books that I need to read. So I'm planning on doing conquering my NetGalley TBR in the next coming months, where I'll be vlogging my journey through trying to get through that TBR, my thoughts and feelings on that. So let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd be really you'd be excited to watch. So yeah. So Raven Lane is one of the first books that I actually received on NetGalley and accepted for, and I was really excited about it. It's another thriller kind of story, so as you can tell, I'm kind of running with a theme here. Thriller, mysterious, atmospheric books for October. So, the truth can bring out the worst in the best of friends. Esme and Benedict Werner have an idyllic life in a tight-knit community until an accident in their cul-de-sac ends in a tragic sudden death of one of their dearest neighbours. After vindicating eyewitness accounts morph into contradictory memories, suspicion, and unaccountable accusations, Benedict is arrested. Esme's life, too, is changed forever. As the neighbourhood largely turns against her and her family, Esme has time to think about her past and what to do next. Then her fellow residents start looking deeper, questioning one another and themselves about hidden lies and betrayals. Esme has more than her share of secrets, and the consequences of what happened on that fateful late summer evening on Raven Lane are far from over. When the mask of civility slips, can friends and neighbours recover from seeing the monstrous truths beneath? Doesn't that sound so interesting? I'm really looking forward to this one. It's going to be published in November, so I gotta get going, read this, get a review up, so I can start getting my percentage of feedback up to 80% like it's supposed to be. Now, for the class Herbology, I have to read a book with the plant on the cover, and the book that I'm going to be reading for this is The Grey Sisters. This is another e-arc that I've received from NetGalley, and this one was only recently, but it has trees and branches, so I'm gonna use that as my book to complete this prompt. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to read this one. It's another young, it's a contemporary YA. So 2 years after a deadly plane crash, best friends Dee and Spider head into the mountains to face their grief. A gripping psychological thriller for fans of cheerleaders and Sadie. So this is again another thriller, to run with the theme of me reading a bunch of thrillers. So Dee and Spider have always been close friends, and they are further united in their shared heartbreak. They both lost siblings in a horrific plane crash 2 years earlier. A chance sighting of a beloved cuddly toy in a photograph of the only survivor spurs Dee to finally seek closure. She and Spider and the friend Min set off on a road trip to the mountainside of that terrible crash. Ariel has lived on the mountain all her life. She and her extended family are looked down upon by neighbouring townsfolk, and she has learned to live by her wits, trusting few people outside of her isolated survivalist community. A terrifying attack sends her down the mountain for help. On her way, she comes upon the three girls, a chance encounter that will have far-reaching consequences for them all. So this is very interesting. Again, it's another thriller, and I think this is going to have me really thinking a lot of how these people are connected, what happened with the plane crash, and it has a survivalist community, which is going to be really interesting to read about. And for potions, I have to read a sequel. I'll be reading is Siege and Storm, the second book in the Grishaverse. I haven't, obviously I'm not going to talk about this one because I don't really know a lot about it, and I don't want to spoil it if no one's read the first one. To be fair, I haven't read the first one either, so I'm going to need to read the first one before I can read the sequel. So this is again not a book that's actually on my to complete a challenge, but it's needed to be read. It needs to be read so I can read the second book. So a lot of people probably know about the Grishaverse. To be honest, I don't really know. It's about magic. It's a fantasy. I think it's about a girl who didn't know she had magic, and then suddenly her regiment gets attacked and this magic explodes from her. As you can see, I've already kind of started it because I tabbed it, but I was in a slump. I didn't really want to read it, so I put it down in September. And for the final book to read in my Owls Readathon, it's for Transfiguration, and that is Sprayed Edges. And I'm going to be reading Twilight. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Tiffany Reads. I'll link her channel down below because she hasn't read the books, so I'm going to be buddy reading this with her, and this also completes a couple of prompts for my next readathon, which is good. So we all know what Twilight's about. I haven't read it since I was like 12, 13, so it's going to be a good experience rereading an old favorite of mine. So yeah, let's just leave it at that. Now, and for lastly, the last readathon I'm taking part in that has been created by Medusa Reads. It's based on Tim Burton movies. It's called The Nightmare Before TBR, and it's done like this. So each movie that Tim Burton has produced, created, directed, whatever you want to call it, there's 2 prompts, and you choose either prompt and you do it, and then you watch the movie. So the movie is Nightmare Before Christmas, and the prompt that I chose was a book where a character goes from evil to good. So this is kind of a controversial I'm going to be reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, I know you're kind of thinking, where the hell does a character go from bad to good in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? Well, it doesn't really, but it's kind of in the series as a whole, with the whole Snape. Is he evil? Is he good? And to be fair, he is quite a morally grey character. But again, there's also Draco Malfoy, who, you know, he's a bit of a beep. And yeah, at the end, he does make decisions that help. He does side with Harry Potter and all his friends. And yeah, so it's not specifically this book, but it's the series as a whole. So yeah. The next one, for the movie Beetlejuice, the prompt is book with a haunted place or person, and I have chosen The Ghost Hunter's Daughter. So this is another NetGalley Erik that I'm going to get through. It's written by Caroline Flaherty, and it's a supernatural meets Mean Girls. So it's a YA horror mystery for the older kind of teen. So it's on the older spectrum of YA. 16-year-old Anna sees things from another world, the spiritual world, a skill that isn't exactly useful in high school. It's bad enough that her mother, possessed by a demon, took her own life when Anna was a child, a loss she remains tortured by. Now her father makes his living clearing haunted objects, and Anna's job as his assistant makes her a social misfit. Most kids in her suburban New Jersey town refer to her as Goblin Girl. Only Freddie and Dora remain loyal friends, but Anna's so focused on her own problems, she misses that her connection with Freddie is moving beyond the friend zone, and Dora is in a crisis. As junior year approaches, a rare solar storm lights up the night skies, and the citizens of Bloomtown begin to act strangely. Anna's teachers lash her out, her best friends withdraw, and the school bullies go from mean to murderous. When Anna realizes she can harness this evil power, she sets out to save Bloomtown and the only family she has left. But to do so, she must keep her own increasingly dark urges at bay. So the trigger warnings inside this book include suicide while possessed, suicide ideation, bullying, mental illness, self-harm, animal cruelty, predatory and abusive adults in positions of power. So there is quite a bit of triggering content within this story, but I'm sure it won't affect me. But if it does affect you, I'll make sure you take care of yourself and you don't read it. But I will give a more detailed kind of review sometime probably in my wrap up of the month, if I actually get to this book, because I don't know if I'm still in a slump or not. We'll see. For the movie 9, we have to read a dystopian, and I'm going to be reading Dawn of Dreams. This is another arc that I'm going to be reading, and it's for blog tour, so I'll link my blog down below so you can check it out when it comes out. So lost family heirlooms, sinister mutants, an ancient book hiding legendary secrets. Such mythical things should not exist in the futuristic world of 2073. Yet, this reality is forced on two strangers. Jaden and Kayla are blissfully unaware the world is about to be invaded. When a relentless, age-old force casts them together, the shocking truth is revealed. They are hunted by the hideous, malevolent monster prowling their community. Worse, it's invisible to everyone but them. Forced down a dark and dangerous path, the pair discovers their stalker isn't the only thing they have in common. As they quest for solutions, while trying to survive, their unique abilities surface. They team up with other worldly allies. After deciphering an enchanted tool, they get their first answer, but knowledge comes at a price. In a world on the verge of destruction, can Jaden and Kayla solve the puzzles and find a way to save it, all while trying to make sense of this inexplicable connection they feel for each other. Another fantasy, dystopian, YA, paranormal romance novel that I have a feeling is going to be quite good. It's going to be good, it's going to be interesting, and I'm really excited to review it. And for the movie Edward Scissorhands, we have to read a book with a heart on the cover, and I'm going to be reading, as I've already mentioned, Proclivity to Prurience, which is the thriller with obsessive person. For the movie Sweeney Todd, we have to read a book with murder, and I'm going to be reading In the Wake for this prompt too, as I spoke about before. The Corpse Bride, read a book with forbidden love. I'm going to be reading Smokescreen, which is another arc that I have received to review for a blog tour, which I'm quite excited about. As soon as I read this blurb, I knew I needed to get it, so I signed up and I got the chance to read and review. So one father was murdered, another was convicted of his death, all because their children fell in love. Nate Beckett has spent his life fighting wildfires instead of the lies and rumours that drove him from his Colorado hometown. His mother begs him to come back now that his father has been released from prison. But it isn't until he's sidelined by an injury that he's forced to return and face his past. But that means facing Brianna too. 14 years ago, Nate was in love with the preacher's daughter. When Pastor Strickland discovered Brianna defied him to sneak out with Nate, the fight began between Strickland and Nate's drunken dad was loud and very public. Strickland was found murdered later that night, and everyone accused Roy Beckett. When the church burned down not long after, people assumed Nate set fire to get even for his father's conviction. He let the rumours fly and left town without looking back. Brianna is stunned to learn that the man convicted of murdering her father has been pardoned. The events of that night set her life on a bad course, and now she's fighting a brutal custody battle with her ex and his new wife, where he's using lies and his family's money to sway the judge. Brianna is barely hanging on, and she's turned to alcohol to cope. Shame and fear consume her. As Nate and Brianna deal with the present, including new information about that fateful night and a wildfire that's threatening their town, the past keeps igniting. Nate is the steady force Brianna has so desperately needed, but she'll have to learn to trust him again first. So this is going to be a hard-hitting romance, slow burn romance, that is going to dig back into the past, and I feel like it's not going to be the way it seems. So I'm probably thinking that Nate's father probably didn't murder her father, and they're trying to find the truth. And yeah, again, there's going to be alcohol abuse, there's murder, so there's going to be some triggering content within the story, but I'm really excited to get into it and give it a read. So for the movie Dark Shadows, we have to read a book with black on the cover, and I'm going to be reading The Lost Power by Avanti Centra. This is Da Vinci Code meets the Tomb Raider kind of thriller, which is different, so it's full of action and suspense. So I'm really excited. So, on a hushed fog-shrouded Napa morning, gunshots and the sound of breaking glass shattered the morning silence. A nap designer and assistant Aikido instructor, Manny Marshall, the red-haired foster boy from her dojo, AJ, and her estranged twin brother, Will, quickly run toward the sound, where they discover a sniper's bullet has killed someone they love. Before the pool of blood on the living room floor is dry, the twins determine that their only clear path is to follow a series of arcane clues concealed by a royal ancestor, Marine Theodore Bear Thorenson, who has long had unrequited feelings for Maddie, joins the twins to keep them out of harm's way. They soon learn the trail leads to a mysterious weapon so powerful that Alexander the Great used it to conquer the unknown world. Powerful in the past, dangerous in the present, for if the killer solves the mystery before the twins do, the weapon will be used to cripple the United States' electronic early warning defense systems. The country's eyes and ears will go completely dark, allowing the Russians to swoop in and prey on the vulnerable nation. As they follow the signs, Maddie is disheartened when she finds out Bear is harbouring a shadow alliance with a covert agency called Van Ops. Worse, AJ is kidnapped and no ransom note is forthcoming. Mare steps ahead of the deadly competition and trapped in escalating danger. The quest leads the twins on an intense pulse-pounding adventure that races from a California winery to a medieval Spanish castle, from a lost warren under the streets of Jerusalem to a mountaintop monastery, and ultimately into the heart of their family's darkest secrets. So another action, thriller, suspense novel. So I have, I believe that this story is going to be amazing and I'm really, really going to love it. So keep out for that review. And for read a childhood favorite, I'm going to read Twilight. So we'll see how that goes. And because I didn't complete my September TBR, I have some books that I need to read this month as well, for reviews that need to go up throughout the month. So the next book is, a book that I was supposed to read in September was Speak No Evil. The truth is heart-bringing of hell. What if every time you told the truth, evil followed? My name is Melody Fisher. My daddy was a snake handler in the alopecia until Mama died. Though years have passed, I can still hear the rattle before the strike that took her from me. And it's all my fault. Since then, I've been passed around from foster home to foster home. I didn't think anything could be as bad as losing Mama. I was wrong, but I will not speak of things that people have done to me. Every time I do, worse evil follows. Now the only thing I can trust is what saved me years ago, back when I could sing the snake's calm. So this synopsis doesn't really give a whole lot about what the story is going to be about, what's going to happen, but I'm really, really excited to get into it and see what it's actually about, because it's something different and something that I haven't really thought about or heard before. I'm also buddy reading The Sun Is Also a Star with Olivia. I'll link her channel down below. We started this in September and we're slowly getting through it. We're reading about 50 pages. I think it's about 50 pages a week, which is good, and then we're coming back. So as you can see, we're reading up to here. Not very far into the story, but I'm really, really liking it. It's about the story of a girl, a boy in the universe. So it's very diverse. There is a Jamaican American girl who's getting deported back to Jamaica, where she hasn't lived since she was 6 years of age. And we also have a Korean American boy. His family has a lot of his family makes the decisions for him, and he doesn't really have a choice, and it expands over a day when they meet, and Natasha is trying to figure out a way to stay in America, and Daniel is getting ready to go for a college interview. So we see them meet and the day that goes on with them. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I can't wait to continue reading this with Olivia. A book I've heard a lot about on YouTube and on the book community is The Memory Thief, and I have also received a e-arc of this book for a blog tour that I'm really, really excited to get into. So I really need to read this one, because it's coming out like next week, and I have to have my review next week, and I only received it today as of October 1st, so I have 6 days to read this book. So in the city of Carwick, memories reign. The power-obsessed ruler of the city, Madam, has cultivated a society in which memories are currency. Citizens are divided by ability, and gifted individuals can take memories from others through touch as they please. 17-year-old Etta Lark is desperate to live outside of the corrupt culture, but grapples with the guilt of an accident that had left her mother bedridden in the city's asylum. When Madame threatens to put her mother up for auction at Carwick practice, in which a criminal's memories are sold to the highest bidder before being killed, Etta will do whatever it takes to save her, even if it means rejoining the Shadows, the rebel group she swore off in the wake of the accident years earlier. To prove her allegiance to the Shadows and rescue her mother, Etta must steal a memorized map of the maze, a formidable prison created by a bloodthirsty ruler of a neighbouring realm. So she sets out on a journey in which she faces startling attacks, unexpected romance, and above all, her own past, in order to set things right in her world. This is a young adult fantasy that I'm really, really excited to get into. I've heard a lot of great reviews from it, and I'm so excited to get into this. And yeah, I think this is going to be one of the first books that I pick up this month. Another book that I was supposed to read in September but I didn't get to because I wasn't in the mood was The Death and Life of Penny Pitstop. And I'm not really sure if I'm excited for this one or if I'm not. But I gotta read it because I signed up for the blog tour, so we'll see how it goes. So making a killing in the city can be murder at home. After sharp-witted trader Ray is told by sexy corporate lawyer White Petty to stop insider trading, he knows that something must change. When he discovers she's been having an affair on her business trips, the tables are turned and he has to choose between keeping the millions he's fraudulently made or keeping the woman he loves. How will he decide? The Death and Life of Penny Pitstop is a standalone, steamy, modern thriller set in London's world of high finance. So, it's not really it seems interesting, but I'm not sure if, I'm not sure how I'm going to react to this one or if I'm going to really enjoy it because it's more finance, business, and I have no idea of any of that thing. So we'll see how it goes. And for the next blog tour that I've signed up for, I've got to read The How and the Why. I was also supposed to read this last month, but I didn't get to it. So a poignant exploration of family and ties that bind, perfect for fans of Far From the Tree, from New York Times bestseller author Cynthia Hand. Today Melly has us writing letters to her babies. Cassandra McMurtry has the best parents a girl could ask for. They've given Cass a life she wouldn't trade for the world. She has everything she needs except maybe the one thing she wants, like to know who she is, where she came from. Questions her adoptive parents can't answer no matter how much they love her. But 18 years ago, someone wrote Cass a series of letters, and they may hold just hold the answers Cass has been searching for. Alternating between Cass's search for answers and the letters from a pregnant teen who gave her up for adoption, his voice-driven narrative is a perfect read for fans of Nina LaCour and Jandy Nelson. So this is going to be a hard-hitting contemporary novel that I don't feel like I'm going to connect very well because I wasn't adopted, but I think it's going to be hard-hitting and kind of make me think about adoption and just see what it's actually like for people who go through adoption and don't know where they're from and who they actually are. Another book that I'm going to be reading is A Midnight Clear. Now this is a short story collection written by various authors who love Christmas, and I know it's not very October-y spooky, but it is a horror Christmas kind of thing, and it's a book that I got from NetGalley that is coming out soon, so I do want to read it and have a review up before it gets published. And the last book that I have is Eden Burning. I started this last month and I'm about 60% of the way through, so I do have quite a bit read and I'm hoping to finish it today and tomorrow. It's about the troubles in Ireland. It's very it's a novel about the IRA and the English, the war during the troubles in the 1960s and 1970s of Ireland. So as you know, I'm from Ireland, so this is a very important read that's going to have a lot of historical significance to me and my country. So that is all the books that I plan on reading in October. Yes, there is 22 of them. Yes, I am stressing myself out already. Yes, I don't know if I'm out of my reading slump yet, but let's hope that I can get through these because I have a lot of books to read and a lot of stuff to do and a lot of reviews to write. So I'm going to get off this really long ass video and start reading. Bye guys!